ये ऑनलाइन है इसलिए थोड़ा सा एडजस्ट कर रहा है। क्या नाम है आपका? So, welcome everybody. Sorry, there was a little link issue. But the main talk is starting now. So ध्यान in Jain literature, उसमें, for example, आशय में लिखा है, translate किया है, meditate on the soul, which is in itself non-material, formless, imperishable, intangible, beyond the reach of the senses, and not the results of any cause. So, or ऐसे समय से आशय कुछ लिखा है कि nature of the universe का book में कि should contemplate the self to self. ऐसे लिखा है उत्तरायण सूत्र में, meditate on the soul, the wise man attains knowledge of the pure self, which is free from all impurities and defilements. और ऐसे लिखा है, और छले से देवासी का सूत्र लिखा है, reflect on the self, one should meditate on its pure, eternal and blissful nature. So वो तो बहुत है, और लिखा है, बहुत पुराना लिखा है, और इम्पोर्टेंट है एम्फेसिस करना कि बहुत पुराना है, जैसे कोई नहीं है, ये नया sort of आचार्य बहुत अच्छा नया स्टेप बाय स्टेप किया, लेकिन है बहुत पुराना है। और उसके बाद ये शब्द उसका चुना, और डेट का लुक एट द डेट, आचार्य महाप्रज्ञा गया है, उसको बहुत स्वयं प्रैक्टिस के बाद 1975 में पुस्तक लिखा है कि ये है प्रेक्षा ध्यान, और प्रेक्षा मीनिंग है ऐसी है, see means to see, and pra is profound awareness of the self, so same as for other शब्द। उसमें एक आगे का कोट है, आप सुना, संपिके आप पगम पायमनम, see yourself through yourself, आप सब सुनते हैं, लेकिन वो same time, literally same time विपස්සना का बुक निकाया गोयका जी को, और आप ये सोचना ये क्या पहुंच रहा, आप प्रेशर क्या पहुंचने जरूर है, प्रेशर सब जगह है, तो ऐसे आइडिया ना कि क्यों प्रेशर सब में है, तो ऐसे थोड़ा सा टाइम तो सेम ही है। उसके बाद आप तो मालूम है कि प्रेशर स्टेप्स है, और हमने रिसर्च कैसे किया मायमी में, वो उसका नेक्स्ट टॉपिक है, उसमें जस्ट श्वास प्रेशर का उपयोग लिया और प्रेशर डेवलप किया, जस्ट दो ही अलग और कंबाइंड, मेडिकल with control, like a control trial, जैसे कि क्या असर है, individual और combination, ऐसे medical तरफ से आप तो trial है, तो आप एक्सपर्ट ही है, trial का डॉक्टर ही है, orthopedic डॉक्टर है, तो ऐसे किया close to randomized control trial, पूरा तो नहीं हो सकता क्योंकि तो awareness है, लेकिन ऐसे close किया, तो उसका थोड़ा सा डेटा बताता हूँ। ये डेटा का बहुत ऊंडे जाने की जरूरत है, लेकिन उसका मालूम पड़ना कि कितना पावरफुल है, ये जरूर है। सो ये हम क्या किया, माय में किया था, समझिए वही टीचिंग करते प्रोफेसर है, तो उसके साथ किए थे मायमी यूनिवर्सिटी में, और काफी लोग नैना का और काफी लोग का साथ जरूर था, बढ़िया रिसर्च हुआ, काफी साल के बाद था, और उसमें थोड़ा सा बताएं, पहले मैंने बच्चे को खेल थोड़ा सा प्ले दिखाया, तो वो जो कर सकते हैं, तो आपको सब समझ पड़ेगा क्या हम बोलते हैं, उसके बाद ये प्ले में सब समझाते हैं, तो बस 2-3 मिनट शायद बच्चों को आप प्ले कर सकते हैं। The mic like that. Speak a little loud because the audience here. Come up. Absolutely. The DNA, you got shown. You are foreign.
Okay. Okay, so D. Yes, yes, sir. Look at the topic. Can you read my thing? Another day.
Another day, crafting the code of life. At the eons, I always in charge, and I love it. Free, our brain is on a quest for knowledge to cleanse our soul. I need some focus. Let's get going.
Got it. Instructions for focus and clarity. But D, let's face it, our brain, Bree, is in charge. Bree's been meditating lately, apparently driven by our soul, trying to suppress amyloid karma with our dedication and willpower. This is why we are using this code.
D.
Meditating. Making sense, but karma's a fickle,
Tickle.
fickle
Tickle.
trickster. Looking like karma is in charge and not brain. Who knows what? Confusion, karma will spring up at any moment. Remember, these instructions are crucial, as will help brain.
Relax, D. I've got it. I have been doing this since the dawn of time.
Protein Power reporting to duty. What is the job today? I am the most important messenger, as all actions are determined by me.
Focus protein, brains meditating to reach deeper clarity. Meditating, especially pranayam, helps to a bit of out of body experience. Of our hope is karma might just get suppressed and reward him with a boost to get closer to perfect clarity.
Fasting and meditation both. Sounds like a job for some focus boosting protein.
Key. Come on. Ha ha ha. I'm supposed to be spinning a wheel in the corner. I'm the karma. I'm the one in charge, the puppet master. You are just my puppets. Let's see what karma springs up from our past actions on us today. Looking at the wheel, click, 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 click. Ah, a boost. It seems Bree's dedication has paid off.
I feel a surge of focus and clarity. Looks like karma's confusing effect is much less by my efforts. I hope this lasts for a while. My effort can be stronger than karma. I can be the one in charge. Siri and Pro. We're not just building a smart brain, we're helping brain explore his spiritual side through focus. And a touch of austerity. Remember, karma might be fickle and spring up anything, but our effort can be more powerful and influence the wheel.
More instructions delivered. Brain's neurons and sharper from fasting and ready to receive.
Another protein, choline. Delivery complete. Brain's got laser focus now, and now can see karma's is less obstructive.
Thanks, team. I feel sharper and more connected than ever. Maybe a longer meditation session next. With more selective eating, I can fast, but not forever.
I'm over here. Ha ha ha, spins the wheel again with a mischievous grin. Let's see what karma thinks about that. There we go. Unclear. Karma seems undecided at this time.
One step at a time, brain. Remember, meditation, pranayam, and austerity is a journey. It's a journey, destination.
Not a destination.
It's not a destination. Focus on the balance between inner, soul, and outer nourishment. Karma might reward the balance or might spring a curveball from the past. I understand. With help from all of you, I can explore the depths of my mind instead. But I know karma is constantly changing, so I must stay ever vigilant and prepared for everything.
Want to stand up? All together.
We are the brain builders, meditating to get closer to the soul, towards omniscience.
Yeah, you did.
No, we have to figure out because These guys, I literally recruited them, what, 20 minutes ago? Yeah, and they hadn't seen the script until 5 minutes ago. So.
Oh, what a great job.
Shows you what good effort can do, right? Awesome. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
Well done,
Right.
such a good job.
Right,
Well
right, no.
done.
Super. That was awesome. Thanks so much. Anyway, the purpose of that is to underscore what the summary was trying to do. She thought, thought that karma must work somewhere close to our mechanism. And then she wanted us to explore that. And this is what we came up with. She said there must be a connection very, very finite somewhere where karma has influence on how you work, talk, right? So somehow, where is it working? That was her question. And she read a book on epigenetics. I said, how did you read a book on epigenetics? Well, she had a textbook on epigenetics, and she wanted to study that. So that was a problem I had to fix. So we did, with her help. So we did. So let's talk about what we found. And so generally, we started off with the expertise of Naina, which is cognitive. Cognitive is your mental faculty, right? What does it do to mental faculty? Now, we all believe that. We know meditation is going to make us smarter. We know that, but we have to document it, right? And compare it like in a scientific way. So we did that next. And sure enough, we had about 141 or 42 subjects, and we randomized them. Very important. One group, we just did Mahapran. And you go to Mahapran, ones who don't, it's basically a buzzing sound, like, that's it. Now we have a break and do it again. We just use sound, the nad, buzzing sound that Acharya Mahapragya taught us. Another group we just did, we relax them like a little bit of Karsak and then do green color. Okay. Very simple, standard Ritu Lesha. The third group, we did both combined, same time over like the school semester, the college semester. And the fourth was a control. And then we collected blood and all the stuff you might imagine, being crazy scientists that we are. We poked them. And in any case, cognitively, very simple. What you see is these are values that are significant, just an eye shot. So many things we looked at, like the buzzing time, how many errors they create on a computerized scoring system, how will they recall the numbers, their words, how quickly they process them, how positive they are or negative they are. Right? So we have these standard scores, which are validated, if you like. And Mahapran did benefits, quite a few benefits. Green color did quite a few benefits. The combination was astounding. So it's not just additive, it's also multiplicative. Go ahead. These are 0.01 to less than 0.01 to all the yellow. Oh, p-value. What is a p-value? Good question. So when I am looking at tossing a coin, I think coin isn't fair, right? I'll have to, a fair coin might be 10 out. You might be 10 heads up and it might be 10 tails. But if I'm 14 heads up, I do statistics say, no, that coin is fixed. That cannot happen by chance. So p-value says that this couldn't really happen by chance. This happened because it's causative, or is this linked? Does that make sense? It couldn't happen by chance. This is our test that tells us the drug is working, right? If I give a medicine to two people and half are happy, half are unhappy and compare, the p-value tells me, that effect is real. It cannot be by chance. Does that make sense? So I'm not trusting it. This is my trust of how real this is.
So the lower the value, the
lower the better. That means it couldn't happen by chance. That is how much by chance would occur randomly. And clearly, if it's that small, it must have been a cause. That is exactly what it is. Does that help? Good question.
All the ones in yellow are significant.
Yeah. So you can see how when you combine, they are not only additive, they're multiplicative.
And the last one here, both combined, all the p-values were significant. Individually, some were for some things and some were for other things, but we did meditation, color meditation, and the humming sound, just those two things. They found an amazing finding in all those 81 students. And they did it for just 6, did you say how long is it?
Yeah, one semester, about 9 weeks, I think.
9 weeks.
Mhm. And they're heading towards exams. Each semester an exam, right? And the control did not. And what really want to point out is a negative, so the red one, that was profound. That was the biggest change. Their ability to be less negative, I'm losing, what's my future like? That improved the most. That was substantial. That was the largest signal. I was about 20%, remember? So this is just people who never did meditation before, never knew what to do, did 3 times a week for 20 minutes, about 25 minutes, for 9 weeks. This is how much benefit they saw.
Green color. Green color.
Yeah, green. We taught them green just because they're not trees. Somebody pick one that's easy for them to focus on. Yellow would work. It's not necessarily color so much as a focusing. You could do yellow, you could green, I'm sure it'll work, and somebody can guide us. But they pick green because for Americans, they used to visualize green. They see green trees and just easier to visualize, so they can focus. But just 2 of the techniques they teach us and how powerful they're. Imagine the rest. We haven't looked at that. That's like a future journey. So these are really powerful. Now, when we saw that, the question is, as you saw the play, where is karma affecting? Is it DNA? Is it protein? Is it RNA? Where is karma playing its effect, right? Somehow it's affecting our cells and our body, right? Where? So that's where the Guruji science comes, which takes a long time. So that's what we're going to talk about next. This is a remarkable finding. So what we looked at is when you're all made of DNA, we all know about DNA. DNA has a messenger called RNA, which is Re, that we talked about. The Re talked to protein, which we presented, right? And then protein then sort of did its action with these chemicals, and this action caused effect. Happy, sad, my muscles growing, my brain's growing, my brain's getting old. The protein somehow messages all those things, okay? And the play was to explain how it works, and they talk to each other, there's cross connection, and then at the end we send effect, okay? That's the play. So we started with the DNA because it made sense. DNA is the boss. Well, the DNA thinks DNA is the boss. Remember the play? They think they're the boss. So what did DNA find? Well, DNA basically is the same in all your cells, but there are switches we can control by our diet activity that turn on and off good and bad DNA, right? I'm outside, fresh air, healthy, walk a mile a day, relax, calm, eat in perfect time, sleep well. DNA is so strong, I won't get cancer, I won't get sick, because guess what? I'm already swasth, right? The DNA turns things on and off. If I'm stressed, it turns off those genes that make me sick. So DNA is key. So we looked at that, and what did we find? Well, we found that the DNA changes, and it changes the way that the effect will last. Let's say after 9 weeks they stopped. Because the change was a fixed change, like a methylation, like a chemical change, it lasts for another months. So it's not just happening then, it'll outlast the timing. Go ahead.
Would it work like vaccines in theory? So if they did, for example, another course of meditation, that the effects would be even greater over a longer term period, or was it?
Absolutely, that's what we're studying. This is for you guys to study. That question you need to study, because that's exactly what's like to happen. And I'm basically showing you a path where you can then follow this, because there's a lot of work to be done, but that would be a fantastic question, and it could well true that, right? And without evidence, people won't follow you. So you have to give evidence, right? There's faith and there's evidence. We follow faith. A lot of people want evidence. Just fine. Good. So then what happened? Well, the story gets into it. I said, well, DNA is doing it. Maybe that's the whole story. But what's the messenger doing? What's Re? You know that Re, the messenger, doing? So looked at Re, and we took blood. So the DNA sends signals through Re. Re is the one that goes to make the protein. Re is important, right? So what you ate today, your Re is already changing to help you digest what you ate right now. So if I take your blood, your Re is going to change. As a response to eating, happy, you hear calm, something just here, you're relaxed, so Re is changing already. Re changes very, very quickly. What do we see? Well, we saw, again, summarizing, we saw lots of changes in many areas that are important. Okay? Some are maybe not important. So we said, wow, this is a big effect on Re. What does it mean? Well, Re doesn't tell you much unless I know what the protein is. Remember with the protein, the guy who thought it was the boss? Protein is literally going to the effect. That's the lock and key that making action occur. So we found this change. Again, the statistics, when you say E to the minus point to the guy who asked about the p-value, that is log scale. This is really, really strong. Right? Not just 0.01 or 0.1, this is like to a log scale. This is like remarkably tight. Okay? So very strong connection. And these pathways mean a lot to me, but nevertheless, they are very, very powerful pathways. So then what we finally did the protein. Remember we said DNA to RNA and then the protein. That's where we'll understand better because that's our language. A little bit more what we understand. We take vitamins, we take minerals, right? Why do we take those? That's what we really think about in food. So this makes it easier for us to say, what does it mean in terms of food or what food is made of? Well, we found something where we were staggered. Okay? This is something never been shown ever before, right? Never been shown before in this field. So what we found is this is a group with the proteins before, right? Certain proteins, cluster of proteins. This is after 9 weeks meditation, right? And the controls didn't show this change. So we said, well, what is it? This is a huge difference, right? It turns out that many of the ones that increase have very fundamental effects in your cells, your nerves, fundamental effects. Yes, go ahead. They did 3 times a week for 9 weeks, for 25 minutes. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that question. Sorry.
And what test did you run? Was it
We did cognitive testing, which is like computerized testing, the standardized testing, which are like tell you my short memory, my physical, my how to cross X, listening memory, with all that, which is standard, very well validated testing. And we weren't surprised with that. We were surprised at how it happened. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, t-test and quite detailed version of t-test because there were multiple groups. ANOVA. Yeah, in fact, we do Bonferroni correction, effectively evaluations. So we do all that strict statistics. We have to do all that strict statistics to get there. Absolutely good. I love it. I wasn't sure this is too deep, so I'm so glad you're asking those questions. So here, these are substantial log scale changes in terms of statistics, right? And the one I'm going to point out is easy to understand, may actually be the more important one, is choline. So choline is VIAP scores with its association really strong. The difference in choline from before and after is really high. Like it's a specifically high difference. Right? So it's a way to assess. So choline, have you heard of choline? Well, I'm a GI doc in nutrition, and I barely heard of it because it's not one we talk about, right? It's just something in food, and we just take it. We don't even, in your multivitamins, there's some, but everything's in there. Well, so we then dug up, what does this mean? Because none of us really understood it. These results were staggering to us. Choline is really important. It turns out it fits it really, really well, right? It keeps the healthy function of brain and nervous systems. It's particularly important in the nervous system, particularly important. It helps the membrane. Our cells have membrane, right? It's like my skin. The cell skin, every cell in the body's skin, it keeps us really fit and healthy, but it needs choline in there. It helps the muscles contract. When muscles contract, the message to contract, choline gets involved again to help you contract. So my muscle contraction, which is really, I work with muscle contraction relaxation, right? That's why I'm doing it. It helps transporting fat and cholesterol. Guess what? This is really, really helpful to shed your cholesterol and fat and make it use. And another marker is homocysteine, which is important to balance. Otherwise, we get heart disease. It balances. So actually, its effect is staggering. It almost is like, hey, why didn't it work on choline itself? Really staggering. So this is the same diet. They didn't change the diet, right? These are just eating the normal food. Right? So it's a profound change. So a lot more work going in this, of course, but this has never been shown before. I mean, at least to the Young Gen Associated, that's only people I presented to just a month ago. It's very new finding, and papers in the mix, of course. So you're privy to some really hot, brand new data that we just got. All right, and so we did use this in patients in the sense that we know it helps pain. So with some of my partners and a lot of people in the family have started, like my son helped up, my nephew helped start it up, and we had this clinic set up. So every week, children who have belly aches at school, you know, a lot of kids have belly aches from stress, school, many conditions, very common. It's one of the commonest conditions in kids and adolescents and young adults. We call it irritable bowel syndrome, right? Probably some of you have it. It's a very common condition. No real treatment for that. So we did this, we did a study on that. And as you can imagine, when you relax, when you calm down your brain, you calm down the messaging, some of the markers we're finding are really good for your gut. They're good for your cells. They're good for your nerve functioning. So maybe that's what's working. Can you see the connection? Maybe the choline thing is actually helping me be that much calmer in my gut and have less pain, less problems. So we found the effect, published that, and we've shown that more than 90% showed improvement, some dramatic improvement, including anxiety, which we did expect. So we use it in clinic. It's like a regular clinic we have. We train our staff to do that. So we've used that. So now when you do Om, you can also eat better, right? Because you feel better. All right, so I'll let Naina talk about the next part, which is how we applied it in, I know people ask about ADHD. This is her expertise, so she's going to talk about next.
Samsumji, Jayjanendra, everyone. We're both delighted to be here and to be able to present our studies because it's so exciting what has come from the studies. But this actual study that we did was done like, I think, more than 15, 20 years ago. So we were already thinking about how meditation, 15, 20 years ago? Less, maybe 10 years ago. But once we met Somnijis and they talked about meditation and how it benefits, all of this other study that he's talked about has come since. We didn't know about all that. We just listened to Somnijis, what they were telling us, and then we thought, why don't we go and see if we can help these kids in India? We already know that yoga and meditation has a calming effect on mind and body. Everyone knows that. And it's used in the treatment of ADHD, but that has not been fully explored. We did find some papers where it had been used, different kinds of meditation was being used. And one of the important things was when we found this place that we went to study, it was a little school in Haridwar. And it's just 1 hour Haridwar, where yoga was originating, the Patanjali yoga, was just 1 hour away from the school in Nazirabad. And the interesting thing is that we went from America to do this, to show the kids at the school the yoga and meditation, and they didn't know anything about it, even living just 1 hour away from the school. I just thought that was just so unique that even though they were so close, it was someone from America that brought it to the school. So the aim of the study that we wanted to find out about was, can children with ADHD first learn yoga properly and meditation? And is it going to be helpful in treating ADHD? Now, I'm just saying ADHD thinking that you all know what ADHD is, but maybe some of you don't. It's attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It's a very common condition and it's common worldwide. The incidence of it is, and the prevalence is worldwide. It's just not picked up as readily in other countries as it is in America or even now in the UK. But in the third world countries, I think it comes low on the radar because they're having so many more conditions that they're dealing with, the children, right? In other poorer countries. So they're not even thinking about it. Most of the children who have this condition, they're just thought of as the naughty kids in the class. They're often, the class is like 40, 50 students, children big, and they're sat at the end of the class, often standing outside the classroom because they've got punished. They're thought of as being not so smart. They're not going to be able to get anywhere in the world. And the unfortunate thing is that it's actually a treatable condition. And these children are not smart. They're very smart indeed. They just cannot pay attention and they can't focus due to chemical imbalance in the brain. And with that, they're often hyperactive, so they can't sit in their chair. They can't sit and listen to the teachers and things like that. So once you help them with those symptoms, they can do really well. So we thought that let's try with the yoga and meditation, whether this can be helpful for these children, because medications are hard to come by there. And also medications, even in America, parents don't want to give their children medications because they call stimulant medications and they provide the chemical that's lacking in the brain. But at the same time, they have side effects. All medications have side effects. And you're talking about 6-year-olds and 5-year-olds even, and now even 3-year-olds are talking about treating. So you really want to find another avenue that you can go to. And can it be incorporated into a school program where we are present? So one of the things was that we can go and teach these kids how to do this, but then when we're gone, who's going to continue this study or this program? And it has to continue. It's not something, although now we know that once you've done it once, it does last a little bit longer, but we wanted these kids to continue to do this all the time. And that's why we taught the high school volunteers how to do the yoga and meditation. So we went to the school and we had more than maybe 150, 160 kids, or even more than that. We screen them all. I have a screening test for ADHD, and then we diagnose these certain number of kids with ADHD as per the DSM-5 criteria, and we put them into a program. So we had 80 children, actually 71 of those entered the program, and we divided them into groups of 8 to 10, according to age. And we'd have them in different groups, and every morning, 3 times a week, they would come in earlier than the school start of the school, and we would sit them down and do some yoga and meditation. 20 to 30 minutes is all that we needed. 10 to 15 minutes of yoga. We had 6 to 8 postures, which we did. 5 to 10 minutes of meditation and relaxation. And then we actually did it was a whole hour program, 30 minutes, it was 20 to 30 minutes of play therapy. And it's called play therapy. It was actually playing games, which they can enjoy, but at the same time, games that kept their focus and attention. And they were like memory games. We had taken some things from America, like the Jenga blocks, dominoes, cards, and they all picked it up very fast. And it was just keeping these 6 to 8-year-olds focused on a task. And here's just a little picture of them. The 2 people at the back are my son and my nephew. And here I'm teaching the high school volunteers who are lined up on the far end. And the children at the front are the ones who are practicing. And it was amazing how they just catch on and are able to do this. And here, that the other is obviously the teacher. So just some few pictures of the schools. And I'm just running through the little bit of poses the yoga postures and these we learned from the Samnijis from Orlando. And when I explained to them the condition that we were trying to address, like with ADHD, they knew from Mahapragya has written a whole book on all conditions. And they told us exactly what kind of poses help with brain functioning, help with calming, help with hyperactivity, and those are the ones that we did. And we obviously chose poses that were applicable for the age group. We did each pose 3 times, and they were known to increase concentration, focus, and attention. And at the same time, we were obviously also doing the breathing exercises with that. So I'm just running through a few of the yoga poses. One of them is this head to knee pose, just as it's shown in the picture. You're putting your one of the legs bent, one leg straight, and then you're bending your head forward. And as you inhale and exhale, you're doing it with breathing. Deep breath in, bend forward, exhale, and then as you come back up again, you inhale again, and then exhale as you bring your arms out. I would have shown all these poses if my foot wasn't in this condition. And I don't know whether you want to show the poses or not, but I think we're okay with that. But you can learn all these poses from Samniji. They're the experts. And they can teach you whichever pose you need to know to do. But the benefits are, one, it increases the flexibility, reduces the stomach, but it excites the neuron pathway to the brain. And it was one of the things that I know worked. Other one is Parvatasana, which is the mountain pose. Inhaling, bring your hands above the head. Exhaling, bring down. Inhale, bring up, exhale, bring down. And you have to do it with the deep breathing, and you have to do, and even sometimes holding them in certain positions is what's also very important. And once again, increases blood flow to the brain and increases concentration power. And all the other benefits that you get are all like buy one, get one free. You get all this other stuff. Abdominal girth gets less, you stretch your arms and your back. So once your body is in good shape, you're much better at meditating. And that's actually what the whole purpose of yoga is, to get your body in shape so you can sit and meditate. And that's actually what gives you the benefit. Then we did 2 lying down poses, the snake pose. Everybody's familiar with the snake pose because they talk about it all the time. Benefits, it increases focus. So we were doing the snake pose. And then standing poses is just a forward bend, basically doing the forward bend, reaching up high and coming down and touching your toes. And that helps to calm down the mind and body and also increases blood flow to the brain. And then the tiptoes, Tadasana, standing on your toes and stretching all the way up. And the kids loved that the best, actually, because we told them that it would make you tall. And they were super excited about getting taller. So they were very happy to do that one. And it also relieves stress and anxiety. So that was the yoga poses that we did. Then we did do 10 minutes of meditation. And just as Dr. Tahira said, it was mostly, again, here also, we just did the Mahaprandwani, which is the humming bee sound. And as they did it more and more, they got better and better at holding it, because you sort of take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, you make that humming sound, and you have to have it go as long as your breath. And we were measuring the interval time that each of the kids was doing, and we were scoring them all to see how they were improving over the 6 weeks to 8 weeks that we were doing the program. And every time they were improving. So it wasn't that they needed to practice for very long. It was just 3 times a week, and their ability to do Mahaprandwani improved. And Mahaprandwani is an amazing technique. I mean, I do it every day, and it just is incredible. It sort of awakens you. I do it first thing in the morning, but you literally feel all the neurons in your brain vibrating. And I tell the kids to do that. Do it before you go for your exam. Do it before this, because it's even just a regular school day. You wake up in the morning, and you have to do it maybe for 5 minutes. And breathe in, and then do this Mahaprandwani sound. It sharpens your memory, and it's actually making all the neurons excitable, and it's improving the blood supply to the brain, and it increases the lifespan of the neurons. So how we assessed these kids was by doing a yoga proficiency score based on how they were doing their postures and stretching. Then we did a meditation proficiency score, measuring the length that they were able to exhale. And then we recorded it, one at the beginning and one at the end of the 6 weeks. And it was by 2 independent observers, not by the same person, so that we had an independent result from each. So we had gone to do this to help them, but we also wanted to get results. We wanted to see and know that this is definitely showing an improvement, and we can take it to different places if we know that it's working. So this was the form that we had created, and it has all the yoga poses there. And then we would score each one from 1 to 4, and then we totaled it all. And then he's the one that does all the statistics. And so we sent it all to him. And the results showed that, well, we actually did this program for 6 weeks. I was there with 4 of my helpers, and we stayed there in the heat of the summer months of 6 weeks in this program. And then we went back again 6 months later, and then even a year later to see, are they still continuing to show benefit? And we saw benefit continuing in all these children, even after a year that we had left the program. And the high school students, they were the ones that we trained as volunteers. You know how everybody here volunteers in high school? So we introduced that to the school there, and we told them that the children who are very smart in the class, are doing really well, who can spare their time, we'll teach them and they can continue it. And they continued the program. And we gave them like certificates for volunteering, and we gave them some little gifts, and they got to that level in that 6 weeks. They were at the 90% plus level of being able to do this yoga and meditation perfectly. So it was increased on average
by 73.9% to 73.9% from the baseline. And the meditation proficiency score, which is the humming sound, went to 7.9 seconds average. And improvements in both yoga and meditation performance were independent of age, gender, or ADHD type. And it was seen to be maintained 6 months and a year later. So it showed that this really did work well, and it was a very easy program to set up. So in conclusion, I felt that it can be incorporated within a multi-model behavioral program. All children can learn yoga and meditation, irrespective of age, gender, or the ADHD subtype. Yoga can be taught by the high school volunteers, and it's obviously cost effective because there's no cost in the program. Yes?
Did you see any actual effect on the ADHD itself while you were doing this?
Absolutely. So I actually did put those in there. I did a follow-up score for ADHD, and it was improved. Like there's a Vanderbilt questionnaire for ADHD, and you have to score 2 or 3 in. So ADHD is diagnosed by having 6 out of 9 abnormalities on a scoring sheet, and it's just behaviors that we all have. It's not unusual behaviors, but if they have a number of 6 out of 9 of these symptoms in either one or both of hyperactivity and inattention, then you're making that diagnosis if they're getting impairment in functioning, like they're not doing well at school or they're not doing well at home, and usually it has to be both. So once we saw that they were fulfilling those criteria, I was putting those kids in the group with that diagnosis, and then every time I went for follow-up, I do the Vanderbilt again. And there was a group of children who didn't respond to this, and we actually managed to get a pediatrician who was able to prescribe the medication. We gave them money for the medication, and we treated them with stimulant, with Ritalin, with alphanidate, and they also improved. But we got feedback from the teachers of the school, and they were saying that these kids who were in the class, one of the kids who she hadn't heard him talk in the classroom for the whole year, after this was coming up to her to ask her, what's the homework? Was sitting at the front of the class. They saw improvement. And some of the parents were saying that these kids are teaching us this at home. So we didn't even have to take it to the home. We actually did do home visits in some of the kids because we also did the whole medical workup. We did dental workup, he checked the belly. We had a whole team of doctors. And we had visited some of the homes, and we see what the home was like because what was the conditions like there. And they showed improvement there. The parents were so impressed. So the scoring sheet improved. I didn't write it in here because it was too much to talk about. But yes, ADHD improved after those 6 weeks. It improved somewhat. In 6 months and a year, they weren't even scoring on those sheets as ADHD. Yeah. Yes, you had a question.
I've got 2. So
Yes.
what about like ADD or like subsets of ADHD, like when they're not like manifesting in behaviors? For example, it might be like hyperfocus, or for example, it presents differently in girls, right? So like, do you have any evidence to show that there's improvements in, you know, someone who might not necessarily be like having like challenging behavior, or like, yeah, I don't know.
Right. No, so actually ADHD, the condition implies you have both inattention and hyperactivity. And this term ADD, which used to be talked about, we realize it's not a condition just on its own. You just don't manifest the hyperactivity, but there's an internal fidgetiness and things like that. So girls are more in that category, and the boys are usually more in the hyperactive, impulsive. So they're the ones that are picked up in class, because if you're not paying attention, you're just sitting there daydreaming, the teachers may not pick it up, right? Because they're not disrupting the class. But they improve the same way, because this is affecting the brain. In the brain, it's the same thing. It's just how is it manifesting in the body? That's the difference.
So just like the internal mechanism, like if it's not like manifesting like externally, if you had a measure for,
If I had a what?
if you like had a way of measuring like.
Oh, measuring. I'm sorry. So it's actually the measurement for ADHD is purely from history. There's no test or anything. say. I mean, there are some tests that they call the CPT, which is a computerized test, which you can see when the numbers come up, you press the button, and if you're not paying attention, you forget to press the button. But none of those are what makes the diagnosis. The diagnosis is purely from history, from the parent, and from the teacher. And so it's what they say. And as you become an adult and you're getting ADHD, it's from the person, not from the child. But you have to have had the condition as a child to make the diagnosis, even as an adult. We have a lot of adults who are being diagnosed with ADHD, but when if you are diagnosed, there has to have had some history as a child to have that condition. It doesn't suddenly appear in adulthood.
I think my question was like if you had a measure for like measuring that internal fidgetiness rather than like a positive impact, like yoga's impact or meditation's impact on that internal kind of restlessness rather than like but yeah, no, I'm just wondering.
I see what you mean. You're actually wanting to know how can somebody say whether they're feeling restless or not internally. Did we ask them that question? No. I didn't, I mean, I wasn't particularly finding out from the person themselves. These were all children between the ages of 5 and 10. So it was mostly history from the parents and the teachers. I haven't done the study on adults. That's actually a good point in the FIU students because did we do ADHD in the FIU students? We did. Okay, so do you have that? I don't know what we saw on that.
We did that. Other thing for schools that even others who did have ADHD but not doing well, we also put in the program. They also improved. So they may have hidden ADHD. They were just back class kids underperforming. Even they improved. So I think we captured everybody. It wasn't just ADHD. We were just talking about it. But anybody who was considered duffer, which is a bad term, and sat by the class and scored poorly, we put them all in the program.
Yeah, in the India program. I'm talking about the FIU program because those were more college students. And I think we had
we did a study.
Did it with ADHD as well.
Yeah, we did a study with that's right. We did a study in in the university you have children who need help, students need help, different terms which are not nice. They include some of these that can't focus. And we did a study to see if they could learn and improve, and they did. So they can.
You can't cure neurodivergence because it's developmental, so is this what's maintenance?
You can't cure.
Neurodivergence, like say if someone's got ASD or autistic.
Right, it's right. So there's a condition that there's not a cure for it, but ADHD there is. You don't always stay with ADHD. You can cure it, not for autism. Autism is a very different condition. And that's, even though we say there's no cure for autism, you can make them as functional as a normal, typically developing child if they get therapy early.
But
Good question.
Just a comment.
Yes.
You see is that with girls, there's a lot of masking that happens. And if you were to ask them how tired they are, at home, when they're not masking, they're really tired. And so if they're in an environment where they don't need to mask and just be themselves, then you see what they're like.
Correct.
They are so good at masking that actually the ADHD and autism is hidden. And then it's about strategies. And I think what you're showing is that there are strategies that will help young people, whether they have ADHD or not, just anxiety.
And the anxiety that goes with it, correct.
That barrier of anxiety,
Yes.
if you can put that aside,
Yes.
you then have an equal playing field for exams and
Correct. So that's a very good point because ADHD doesn't come alone. It comes with a lot of comorbid conditions. A big one is anxiety, and the yoga and meditation helps that a lot. And this is a study I did in India, and I then went to my kids' school and told the teachers at the school that I've already heard from the kids probably that my mom did the study. So they called me in to teach the children in the classroom yoga and meditation before they took the FCAT exam because of the stress and things that come. And the parents were so impressed at how well these children did for the FCAT exam. There's so much less anxiety. I mean, I didn't do any scoring or anything. It was just the verbal reports from the teachers and the parents. And they were so impressed at how well it worked. But it is the anxiety that is a big thing as well that has helped with the meditation. Yeah.
The play therapy you did in this study particularly, did you find whether that was like already a predetermined way of helping with ADHD, or did you find that had its own specific effects on the children?
So that's a good question. That's not actually any predetermined thing from an ADHD point of view. It's not shown in any literature that these games are what you would do for ADHD. I did find some games online for ADHD. They were more like board games and things which are supposed to help, but these were just simple things which I could take. But what I found when I was doing the play therapy with the kids is that it was just the fact of having them focus and attend for that period of time, 3 days a week, which was helping them. And I think partly it's also inherently in a classroom of 50, they're not being given much attention. They were in a group of 6 or 8, and we were giving them full attention. And I think even just doing that in itself played an effect. Yeah. They're all games that help you with your memory skills and focus and attention, but not like they're for ADHD per se. So it's good because it's cost effective, and just my take-home message really was that we went a full cycle for yoga meditation, right? And yoga started its practice in India. I learned it in America, and then I brought it back to India, to the school that's just an hour away from where it's actually originated. It only needs to be done 20 minutes a day. And I just wanted to give a message to all the young people out there, like, where's he gone? He was just talking about that. Anyway, they're the ones who can make a change. Small interventions can go, oh, here he is. Small interventions can make large changes. And for you up here at the front, who's been asking the questions, you only need minimal resources to go and make a change in the world. And you just have to have a good intention and a clear goal. And then obviously have contacts. So we had contacts in India who we could approach. Just a little joke. Thanks to yoga, I now gently stretch to conclusion instead of jumping to them. And this is evolution as we may know it, but this is how we should know it. And that's the end.
All right.
You're welcome. And if we have time, we were going to move on to fasting. Okay.
Yeah. So I think we have a good discussion, good interaction. I really hope that our science wasn't too high. I know it was actually. I probably could have been more detailed, but this is not, if you like, conceptually easy to present when you come to a temple to pray. But in actual fact, this is reality. And this is getting us close to understanding reality. Right, this is really happening in ours. So, there's a future talk we'll talk about, but like fasting, very, very similar data we have for fasting. Very similar findings, to a point where you'd say, why am I not doing it? It actually makes no sense not to do it, because we are designed for that. And we're Jains after all, but even if you weren't Jain, the shame is, billions of people fast, right? Every day, every year, all faiths. Somehow we've dropped it when we should be the kingpin of that. Ours is the best fasting there is, right? So, and the benefits are extraordinary, even bigger than, or maybe as big as what I showed you. So, while I'm not going to talk about fasting, what I would tell you is personally, meditation helped me a lot, but the impact fasting has had is phenomenal. I can go to work fasting 3 days, third day, the clarity I have. My partners will predict when we're meeting, discussing cases, complex cases, difficult case, hard case, and I happen to be there. They're afraid if I fast, I'll pick things up they missed. And they'll predict when I was fasting. Same me, other times I'm not that clarity. And a couple of fasting, the clarity you get is phenomenal. So meditation clearly is the goal to get rid of karma, right? It's the ultimate weapon we have. Fasting is a path to that, right? So meditation and fasting, both you practice to get better at it, but I would say there's nothing like fasting. So make sure you think through, dig deep. Don't miss this opportunity when somebody's here to guide you. Come, take Bachkan. Do whatever you can, take Bachkan and do it. You'll be surprised. And get that journey going, because that's how they got me going. So that's how they got me starting worship up. So
Like 8 days to सबका fix हो गया.
no, I'll tell you, I talked to YGA. I just gave a talk to YGA, the Young Jain Association in America, just literally a month ago. And I talked about a fasting talk. And I got a message back that every single one of them want to fast now. Because the data is just so compelling. It wasn't me telling, the data they had seen is so compelling. Go ahead.
There's no doubt about fasting has immense benefit. I always struggle to understand short-term fasting versus long-term fasting, which like many Jains we do 8 days onwards. What is your thought?
Well, I'll just show you one slide. I didn't want to do this, but I'm going to do this, right? There are so many misconceptions, right? And to be honest, India's great at teaching out of faith has not been great at doing out of research, which we know. And that's okay because we have faith. When we leave India, our faith diminishes, so we need data, right? So, and this is data from Western fasting, but also very Jain. Like this study, the days of fasting, right? This is mitochondria, that's your fuel cell. So all of you right now sitting listening, the energy is produced by these cells, this body in your cells. There's a mitochondria. Their choline, by the way, helps you too. But this is the energy. Probably linked to the Tejas Sharira in some way, but this is the energy that keeps you focusing, awake, alert, right? Listening. This is what keeps you going, breathing. So the fuel to that has to come all the time. So we're fasting. First, the fuel comes from our glucose, the sugary stuff you ate, the starch, the chapati, and the paratha you ate, and the puri, some of the paneer you ate. Then it comes a little bit of protein because it's quick. But once you get past that, your protein is spared because we need it for survival, right? In fact, what happens is you start chewing your fat, which is what you want. That makes you leaner, faster, smarter, and the same weight protein muscle. Now I have less weight, same protein muscle, and far faster, far more efficient. I can go and find food if I run a mile. I can go and climb higher to get the tree and the fruit that I want because I can survive. So it's a response we have. We are supposed to have that response, right? So all fasting is doing is tapping that response. And then what happens is very interesting. Once you fast, all these organs switch into a mode, which is protective mode, right? Now, all of you right now are 20% dead. You all, I know we're going to die anyway, but every part of you right now is 20% dead, right? And to get rid of that dead part is where disease starts. Because if you're not good at getting rid of that, the dead part decays like we know out there. It rots. If it rots in you, it gives you joint problems, heart problems, every organ. The decay and manage decay. Now, if I eat really well and I'm calm, I can manage the decay well. I don't eat well. I eat fast food. I eat bhajia. I did those, right? I eat all the yummy food, ice cream, right? At some point, it ain't gonna help me. Then my decay is going to cause auto damage, right? Well, guess what fasting does? It's so smart. It uses up that dead cells. It recycles them. It gets rid of those dead 20% dead. So in 3 days, I'm almost 95% undead. Just imagine that. In 3 days, I'm 95% undead instead of 80%, which means I'm that much more efficient, effective. Smarter. My heart's better. Yes. How much time? You can start even from a few hours, like somebody said, you can build on a few more hours. You've got to, like if I say I want to climb Mount Everest, I have to prepare, right? So you slowly start, somebody says, maybe pick one day, take a challenge, then another challenge, but over time, if you have to look at current science, it takes about 3 days for the switch to occur. Right now, probably doesn't have to be 100% fast. You could probably eat a little bit. Some studies say you could eat maybe 20 calories so you can get the same benefit. But it's about 3 days that we see that switch.
So do you like not drink like.
No, you can drink water. You can drink water.
Because like sometimes when I eat it twice a day, I get really tired. Like
Mhm.
really, I don't know, but I have low iron levels anyway. So I just think like, am I damaging myself? Like you have to be like probably a really good vets and stuff. Vitamins, like if you are going to do something like this.
It's interesting. And so what you're saying is true. Like if by the way, we go to base camp Mount Everest after Varshitap, so everything's possible. But like 10 days after
10 days on.
Parna, we climb to base camp. So it's possible.
What do
Well-
you think of intermittent fasting?
Intermittent is just a Western concoction of what we do already. And they have to define it so they can study it better, but it's no more than we do. We do like Ekasan based on intermittent. We do Ratri Bhojan intermittent fasting. So don't forget, when you do a study with intermittent fasting, they don't have Shraddha. They didn't do Bachkan. So they'll get a benefit you're going to get. They'll get some benefits as physical. We shouldn't be thinking like that. I'm just saying that you go for spiritual benefit, this comes for free. Don't focus on this, right? But you get this for free, right? You focus on your spiritual. I am so much more efficient to 30-minute fast to be more spiritually inclined, more peaceful, less reactive, more responsive. She'll pick the days are nice and the days are not nice based on how much you eat. So the point is that we focus on that. Everything else is for free. Health, benefit. I'm just telling you what amazing the body does when you're fasting, but I'm not making that the goal. The goal should be that our spirituality. But yes, it'll happen. Intermittent will work. You do Ratri Bhojan, the same thing, right? If you stop after, and I would rather do that, take Bachkan for the right reason, get the benefit than just intermittent fasting like the West. But this data is from the West, it's helpful. Imagine add to this data that I showed you Bachkan, how much better you'd be, right? Bachkan is the most powerful thing there for us. So as some of you know, somebody I think just starting Varshitap from Bachkan, taking Swamiji for the first time, I think in the sun. I think it's not here today, but I think your wife's here. So I think this is amazing. And the Swamiji got me to do Varshitap like that one day. So I'm very blessed with that in Bachkan. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, she's
Yeah,
got a
go ahead.
question about being sick.
Oh yeah, sure, go ahead. Oh yeah, so answer your question is that everything's adaptation. So the reason I went to segue is everything's adaptation. So yes, I might take 9 months, 18 months of fasting once a day or once a week. I mean, once a week, once a month to get my body used to it. You might take 6 months. We have to adapt to get over that fatigue you talked about. But basically, fatigue is either tea or coffee addiction, commonly, in the sense you're drinking daily and you have to get over that, which takes months, or you're not hydrating properly. Usually you get those 3 right. Within a matter of months, you'll be rated at it.
It's much kind of like
Wrap it up.
what's first.
Oh, so Varshitap is probably the toughest one where we fast alternate days for about 13 to 14 months.
13 months eating every other day.
Every other day. Yeah, which is probably for most of us, the highest one we'll get. The other way, harder ones, but
Well,
that's,
so he's done a month fast, which of just water for a month. Like just drinking water, no food for a whole month. That's Maskam. I think that's probably the most intense on your body, I would say. Varshitap is the most commitment because you're doing it for a whole 14 months, only eating every other day. Like you have to stay committed for a year and a month, which is the longest commitment, right, for fasting. But I think strenuous might be the body.
Basically about the fasting, I mean, one query or common misconception, or basically even in the practical sense, somebody does that high and then basically the weight gain is very fast after that. And so how do you suggest, and I mean, apart from being in care of someone experienced, like how do you suggest that to maintain how to maintain the right balance of the body after this?
so what I would tell you is, and this is where medicine can help you. So what happens is when I fast and on day 3, you touch my hand, it'll be cold, right? Because my body is in a saving mode, right? It's conserving, saving, efficient, right? If I eat a little bit, it'll get the most out of it because it doesn't know when I'm getting my next food, right? We designed by nature to survive. When you start getting food, you remember that because your body does not know the food's here plentiful now. You know, but your body does not know. It thinks I'm going to grab what I can, because who knows when I'm getting my next meal, right? We have an animal brain, if you like, not a real brain. So you have to control that. And then this is where I say you do it with somebody because they'll guide you, because they're experiencing this. So yes, when you break your fast, typically what I recommend is continue small amount. So let's say you're doing a Thai, then I would suggest that at least twice a month still fast, one day. So you slowly adapt. You don't just stop cold turkey, just like any medicine. You know, some medicines you can't just stop. Yeah, we know. Or you do Ratri Bhojan for a while, just focus on that. Interestingly, not that I want to raise it of faith, but in Ramadan, they do the same. Most people after that will still do additional fasting because they've been taught then too after that, because that allows them to soft plan. So many ways to do that. You can eat small amount of unodri. You could say, okay, I'll do my fast now, I'll eat less than my appetite, something can help you. You can do this. So you have to do something. Exercise itself won't work because this is your body set in that mode. It only lasts for about 2 or 3 months, your body's back to normal, then you should be fine. So yes, you have to be careful. So there are many parts of fasting, Janeway, which you have to have an expert guiding you. When I did my mask, Samiji insisted I break the fast the way her sister did or her family did. And I followed her instruction. I had not one iota of a problem. I did break the fast exactly as she said, with care, and care is, one of those amazing seeds they get from India, right? And I just faith, yes, but I knew she had knowledge and I trusted her. And I'm a physician, I understood, but I still said, no, this is more correct. And I didn't have a single problem drinking, eating, getting up, bathroom, nothing. Like I was amazed how smoothly it went. So I think the answer is to yield to the expertise, attach to them, ask them, call them daily, take Bashkan daily from them personally, mention any symptoms to them daily. And if they need help, they'll call people like me. I mean, some people need help from some reason medically, then I'll of course be very happy to help. So I think there are resources. So you do it for the right reason, do it with Bashkan, you'll sail through. It is just the most amazing. There are always pitfalls, but this is why they're here. Right? So I don't fear it. What I'm trying to tell you is, look at this. The muscle grip, 10 days after fasting, the muscle grip doesn't change. So all the misconceptions of weakness, I understand weakness because of short-term fatigue that happened, but it's not a physical thing. This is a German study, really Jane fasting they did, even though it was medical, and the muscle strength didn't change. Right? So there's really no worries actually. The worries in our mind, right? And our conceptions and our thinking, because we're used to eating all the time. So when I'm telling you something you don't want to do, you have worries and anxieties, right? Trust somebody and go for it. I'm telling you, there's nothing like it. And you should be the best at it. This is so profound in our faith. So I feel we should be leading this pack and leading the studies rather than waiting for Westerners to find out things which is not the way we should be doing it. So I keep encouraging young people to take this on. This is just so amazing. And the results I've had. And since a medical talk, of course, short memory, all these things helps. These are the diseases we know for sure from a very recent study, April hot off the press. The same protein pro that presents the same study that I presented from meditation, same study done by this German group, I believe, showed protein changes which would directly benefit these diseases. You can predict which disease is going to improve from fasting. This is just 10 days, not even the one that Russia is. All of those proteins that change are all key players in those diseases. So you can predict, and we also know, this is the autophagy we talked about, which is where you're dead, 20% that you're dead. One term is autophagy, many terms. This is 20% you're dead, and you're with fasting, brushing that out. You clean all that out. And all these systems, all of them improve. Why take medicines? Right? And guess what? If you do it for your soul, this comes for free. You're not preparing for your future life, as somebody said today, by fasting. Forget the body. Body's going to be fine. It's going to support you because it's doing the right thing. for the soul and your body. This is a recipe, why not do it, right? So anyway, that's a parting message. Any other questions, feel free to pick me up after. Yeah, go ahead.
So, some people, they are on some regular medicines, for example, like some heart related medicine, some blood thinner, some thyroid. So how does fasting like fit in those situations?
Well, most of these things will be specific to what, like say for a diabetic, there are certain rules you have to follow. And you know, pretty much your doc will guide you because now most people are familiar with the data on fasting. So you can actually fast in any setting, just have to be manipulative and careful, okay? Be alert about mature about it, but there's nothing that says no, you can't. Medicines depends, most medicines you can take, but don't forget, there are two types of fasting. There's a Pachkan where you say 0, or if somebody allows, you can say, look, but I'm gonna accept some water and some medicine. Maybe they'll say yes. That's up to them and your how it works. But there are ways that you can get it done. So I wouldn't take any risks. This is not a risk thing. I mean, you know, if we start at the end of the cliff and say, you know, okay, I'm gonna now jump up and down to see if it works. It's not work, right? So you gotta be careful. But maybe you crawl back from the cliff to a point where you can jump up and down. So you set a path up strategically. Have guys, somebody, they're very well educated, have a physician. Well, anybody's welcome to always talk to me. I mean, anytime I'm available for somebody, happy to guide people. For what I know, guide you the right people in UK if you need, because I was from UK also. So don't fear, right? And then if you can't do half, do rugby boarding, you know, that's half as good. Half as good is better than what you're doing right now, right? So there's no reason not to take the journey for. Those are not reasons to say no. They're reasons to address issues, right? Go ahead.
Meditation, you explained like how it impacts our body and internal organs, internal cells as well. So do you have any data backing that up? Like it has helped in curing any particular disease? Like one person start meditating and that disease got cured? Do you have any data?
Yeah, so meditation data, many studies. And what I just did is what Pressure Dhyan, there's some Neuro 1 studies on this. But lots of studies on Vipassana and lots of studies on regular yoga meditation of benefits. There are lots of studies, blood pressure medicines. And the general idea I would say is, and I would say this as a physician, don't do it instead of, do it as an aid to your treatment, right? Don't ever replace, don't compete with. It's an additive, right? It's your base. So and if your base works well, maybe you need less medicine, but don't do it. Oh, I think I'm going to be cured and I can stop medicine. Don't do that.
Why I ask this question is because I really believe in meditating.
Sure.
So suppose if my hand is in pain and I do meditate, just try to heal, and the pain just goes away. But when I tell this to my son, 16-year-old son, he just walks out of it. It's your belief that that's why it's gone.
So you tell
I just
him,
wanted to know, like, if
yeah,
there's any data.
there is data. Tell him to go and read about the vagal nerve, or in your case, other nerves, and how your brain controls your gut, let's say, and other nerves to your body, and how much data there is. And if it doesn't blow his mind, I'll be surprised. Right. So take your first example. I have food allergies, right? So I don't come to eat you guys because you put ginger in anything, I get sick. So I won't come to eat with you. You know? I want to eat cardamom, I get sick. I'm just some allergies, I'm food allergies. And I would, if I make a mistake, I come to your house and I can't say no, then I take medicines, right? Then Swamiji's, current Swamiji's taught me how to do visual. I deep breathe visual, go to Kartsuk, and then I happen to be yellow through my GI tract and focus on that. Very simple. Every morning, in fact, because of me, everybody had to do it. The whole people who join in the mornings, the Anustan, right? We have Anustan here, same. And I don't need any medicines. If I make a mistake, I just do that. I have maybe minor issues, I'm back to normal. So I can tell you personally it works. Of course, I have faith, I believe that probably is part of that. But separately, we do know that I'm actually controlling my vagal nerve. And vagal is the one that is out of balance in the gut. We know that. We know the brain-gut axis is a vagal nerve problem. All medical hypnosis, all medical CBT therapies that work use the same pathway that meditation does. So there's deep science in there. So they know that's totally proven. Right? Go ahead.
Fasting like now, you do it like every month, like
Me? So I just finished, somebody I just want to correct, I mean, I know she spoke a lot about me, but what I did the last one, I did 3 days every week, 3 consecutive days a week. And I just finished that sometime in March, April. Now I do 1 day a month.
How long do you wait between like fasting? If you've done like one set of fasting, like how long?
I don't, which day I have to finish? I don't, sorry, go ahead.
Say, like, a series of like 3 days a week.
Mhm.
Then how do you wait? Then you start eating more, then go back, then do something.
Yeah, if you do 3 days, I don't, it's gonna be a challenge and you'll get there, give yourself a month to get there. But if you do 3 days a week, then you don't have to worry because you're gonna keep fasting. I can eat what I want. There's absolutely no limitation around eating because it's not like I'm not gonna fast. The other question was after doing long fast, if I stop fasting, then I'll probably gain weight. But if I'm in 3 day fasting, it's not an issue.
I think her question is also, I don't know, was asking when did you start your next fasting session after doing a long fast? So he did the 3 days a week for a year and for a brush it up kind of thing. And then continue doing 1 day a week. We're doing 1 day a week at the moment.
If you don't want to lose weight, like obviously inevitably you will lose weight.
No,
So actually, he
No.
doesn't lose weight.
you don't, so again, I admit, you don't lose weight.
Yeah.
Actually, what
We're not
happens
doing it for weight.
is after the first month, maybe 6 weeks of long fasting, you may lose weight because you're adjusting that thing, whatever. You don't lose weight. I actually don't lose weight. People think I don't think because I'm honest, but they wonder, are you actually fasting? Because I look the same, right? I may look a little dry, a little bit drinking of that water that day, maybe, but I don't look different.
I did a Thai
Oh,
a
there you go.
couple of years ago.
Nice.
And then second day when I broke the fast, I did my blood test.
Hmm.
And I thought that everything would be very low, the hemoglobin, the
Yeah.
iron level. And to my surprise,
Everything.
it was more.
Mhm.
And then I asked, what is happening into my body? And the doctor said, your body reserve is using the body, your body is using your reserve.
Yes.
And that's why it's
Yes.
more. So I totally agree with
Yeah.
you that fasting is, if you can do the fast, it's the best medicine.
Well, you recycle your dead tissue and bring it back. It's there, it's yours, actually, in a sense. And we're wasting it right now. We're not fighting to keep it from hurting us. It's I'm using it to keep me better. It's so why not fast? It's almost like light to turn on. Go ahead.
Some sort of program, or basically, is it possible to have some sort of program with volunteer here? Volunteer people who want to sign up, adults, children, a combination of fasting and meditation. And everybody keeps a record of their medication or them to themselves. And then basically, if you can drive a program from Florida.
Like collect data you're talking about, like
Collect data, I'm more feeling basically collective,
and collective journey. Listen, somebody's blessing you to do anything you want. And that's a fantastic, if that's what you want to do, I'd be only too happy to help. I can fly here very often, whatever you wish, I'll be there for you. Certainly. I do feel if you don't take ownership of this, we're gonna lose it. Right? When I see papers like coming out of Germany, they're actually copying Jane, but not telling this Jane. Right? And they're saying new data, look what we just found, was supposed to be doing for thousands of years. So I've got a feeling that, we're very good at working, very good at working, very smart. We work for companies and we follow rules very well. Somehow we're not actually adapting our skills to our own faith to get data for our kids to get faith. Our kids will get faith from data, not from our faith, because our faith is already bonded because we brought up with that, right? Our kids will need data. That's why we brought them here, to teach them how to think on their own. Then we expect them to find it without us having get the data. It makes no sense. So actually our responsibility is if we brought them here to then do this so that they get that clarity of why we're doing it. Otherwise they lost money, why they lost. Well, we didn't do the right thing. We said they made money and let them do what they want. We didn't actually do the right thing. Our strength, how many have you meditated when the kids grew up? I bet you none. That's a heritage we have that's beyond Buddhism. It's ours, right? The strongest tool we had, none of us did when the kids grew up. I didn't, right? So why would they learn? We do temple stuff, which is fine, and they don't like it. So we actually ask ourselves, we should do the path. Who else in mind will want to guide us? Why would I even doubt what he says? So we should apply that and set a bar with data, so it gets into books, publications that they will respect. Right? And they'll come and tell you, oh, wow, I didn't know I had this fit. Right? So we have to create that aura. So what he's saying is very important. I think we have to take that from one of the things we did very weekly is set up our sunstyles and knowledge base. We just made our career, which is fine. We have made our money, which is fine. We set up our families, which is fine. We never thought of this. You come in your age because you need help from somebody, but you're not thinking of your kids. Some will come, most won't come. Unless we collect data. Then they're going to come. They'll fall in anyway, because the data is so compelling, right? So apply it to do it yourself, be role models, inspire them to work on it. It's entirely in our hands. We're very wealthy, very talented. Look at the kids skip they did in like 2 minutes. On purpose, I give them last minute to see how amazing they are. They can do anything. What can stop them? Nothing. Right? Guidance. But the guidance has to be well thought out. So I would recommend that. And I'll be happy to help. I certainly can compile it with somebody's help. Be happy to do it.
There are a couple of questions online. Is there an optimum time to do the yoga and for how long after eating should it be done if morning is not possible for some people?
I'll ask somebody to answer the optimum time to yoga if morning is not possible.
In the 3 hours, we should, 3 hours we should keep gap, food and yoga.
Okay, 3 hours, yeah. And will that help in resting and sleeping in the night? So if they do yoga in the evening, will it help in resting
It's
and
very
sleeping in the
good.
night?
If we do the yoga before sleep and before sleep, if we do meditation, it's very good. But the next day we wake up very energetic.
Okay. There's another question. Should pranayam, fire breathing, is it okay for EWRT patient?
So generally, I think some of the yogic practice like fire breathing, I would leave aside because we're doing it for spirituality. So I forget that I'm Jain, but Acharya Margaret did such a good job. It dissects out and identify things which are related that are very good for spiritual growth. All the others are more physical benefit. Yes, you can definitely get lost very easy. Like I can do yoga meditation with greatest soccer star. Well, that's not a goal. Right? I could do it just be a good businessman. Why should that be a goal? Why don't you be a better person and then be a better businessman or a better soccer player? So I tend to move away from any physical benefit. I'm just showing you that as a benefit because it helps us. But I would target at a spiritual growth.
Both of you are very, very clever, and I'm so happy.
Oh, that's clever.
The way you both of you come from a scientific background, but the way you have analyzed and like made me realize with the scientific all the experiments and the results. Like I have been coming to JB for a long time, but I don't meditate. I don't fast as well. Sometimes I do, but you like a living people. And your sister is saying that you have 6 children, and you are a family person, and you got so much shraddha with the Swamijis, and you have progressed. And what you're trying to show is like if I were to show to my children. Like you're saying, for the young children, they need evidence. And I don't know how much time and energy and thinking and so much you've done. I'm so happy.
It's all because of Swamijis.
Trust me, we were just listening to following instructions. This is, and then let's say I talk to a scientist, then they'll figure out what they would do because I asked. So we were just doing what they asked, right? And we found this is their vision. We were just con. So they're amazing. They're astounding. We're blessed with Acharya Tulsi's vision to have Samriji Pant to have to come here. That's the reason why you're here, and this is why I'm here. And this is why this happened. This is all a vision from great acharyas.
And this is like from 2005 when we moved to Orlando. It hasn't been for years. That's why we've been in touch with the Swamijis on a more regular basis. And even for me to do something like this and come on stage and give a talk, I'd never have been doing this. I'm such an anxious kind of a quiet person. Even when I have to ask a question in the audience, I can't just do it. I get scared. And somebody to just help me through all of that. And I'm so comfortable talking or running the show or whatever. It's amazing what confidence, positivity, health benefits, just everything.
And more argumentative at home. You know, she argues a lot. Before she didn't have the guts. So now I'm a bigger home. Oops, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Medications that we already have, and after clearing everything, and do everything, those medications should be monitored, or perhaps they will still be required because certain medications are absolutely still necessary.
Yeah, I mean, it's disease specific, so you have to, I hate to say we have to talk in medical terms specifically, but there's no reason why you should start a journey with, you know, temporary fasting or even once they take the medicines. Again, the journey is open. There are many paths. Fasting whole day is not the only path, right? 1 or 3 may work. I just eat 2 less bits every meal. And that's all you need to do.
Some can get Pachkan after medicine. That's what I've.
No, but I'm just saying.
I'm on regular
Yeah.
medicines and I just take my Pachkan after I've taken my morning medicine. If it's more times a day, it's different. But then I'll do my Pachkan till the sunrise the next day after I've taken my medicine. So I'm not really doing a complete sunrise, I suppose.
Mhm.
I after Pachkan with medication.
Yeah, many ways, but even like while I say fasting, there are many, many ways to get the same benefit. You know, even if you do once a meal a day, 2 meals a day, probably will work just as much. I don't think it has to be the whole thing.
And I think the important thing is actually, if we focus on the fasting, it's actually Mahavira when he's fasting, he wasn't fasting, he was actually so meditating so deeply within himself that he actually forgot to eat. He didn't think about food. And that's what we really want to get to. So even when you're fasting, if you're just fasting, saying fasting, it's not really the true kind of fasting. You want to be not thinking about food, because when you do start fasting, we realize how much time I have available. You're not thinking about shopping, cooking, especially Varshita time. That's what I realized the most benefit. Just eating every other day. There was really literally, you'd forget that you were eating the next day, because the day you fast, you forget, did I actually eat or did I not eat? Because food wasn't relevant after a while. That wasn't the most important thing anymore. I think that's what fasting teaches you, is to start thinking more about your soul, just like somebody said, and progress with that. And then you automatically don't think about food. And then your brain is way clearer. And that's true too.
And if your physician isn't sure, then I would do some limited fasting for a while to get confident in your system's working. But it's not competition with medicine. It's not competition with disease. It's complement.
Fasting is just not limited at perdition time.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, do it then, it's the best time, but I would do it. I think spiritually, I think twice a month is probably a good time. It doesn't have to be lunar calendar. If you can lunarly link it, then it's better, but we often in a busy life can't. But I would aim for 1 or 2 a month, maybe try a lot. If you get that, you're fine. Right.
Is there a way that we can find like the specific program you did with the in the second study you showed? So like, is there a way to find that specific program that you use, that you trained?
To train them?
You want to?
Yeah. Everything's available, literally written. Yeah, the papers are out. I mean, if you want, I can send you papers, but they're a bit dry. They're medically written. I mean, you would enjoy them, but they're not easy to read. But yes, we can. In our dialogue, we can give you the whole protocol.
And I hope you want to set one up like that or follow that. Cool.
Oh, absolutely.
Send me the
Yeah, yeah.
information. I can send you all the
Absolutely.
information.
Go ahead.
If you wanted to start somewhere having never fasted before, where could I start?
If you've never fasted
Yeah,
before.
like
Somebody to be the best guide, I would probably ask her, and because she knows you best and she'll know what you're capable of. I generally, for my kids, I try and do the last day, the summer story day minimum. I start with that, and because it's the most important day. Again, what's the biggest gain for your buck? That's the day, because you ask Koreans for a whole year and all your karma that you may have accumulated, right? So I would start with that.
So you take Bachkar and then just drink water.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, how are you ridding karma on
Hmm?
that? How are you getting rid of your karma on that?
Well, what somebody will teach you earlier in the talk is that we have these 12 ways we shed karma, right? The 12 nidras, right?
Yeah.
The first one is fasting. Now they're fasting dry fast, but wet fast water is okay. You're still the right journey. So you can start with that. If you can master that, you get confidence. But that's the most important day, right? Marvin said, because you can ask forgiveness the whole year. And you settle your bill at the end of that.
What day is that?
At the end of probation,
From
last day.
early-
So,
yeah, it's coming up in end of September.
Yeah.
Oh,
And-
August.
All games do that. So you've got this mass effect. Everybody's in the same mode, you know, they're in the right mode. Everybody's doing this company, everybody's doing it together. And that gives that, and Pachkan gives it other impetus to survive and succeed. And once you get good at that and you think, oh, this is working, you can stretch it from there. That's one way to start. But again,
Having a
yeah.
lot of people doing it around you really helps. Our workshop up in Orlando was like, there were like, how many, 10 of us? 5 of us doing it. Suddenly they started and then everybody just joined the wagon and we all started doing it and it was good. You do it in company and song. I think in India that's why people fast so much because they're in a big community where so many other people are doing it and there's a community excitement.
On that day, did you just continue with your daily tasks as normal?
Yeah, and if you don't take a day
Were you
off,
meditating that day?
I would say it's such an important day. It makes no sense not to take a day off then and spend a day with somebody and fast. Makes no sense because you're going to clean yourself up. Right? I mean, you sort of vacation, you stuck in the airport, the plane's delayed, and you do it and pay money. And it gets you nowhere except for a trip. You do this, take a day off. Imagine the dedication, time commitment, intent, right? You cleansing your soul. I take this off.
So the 12 ways, I missed the lecture in the morning. Is that meditation, fasting, like that? Are they all online? I looked them up.
There's 12 Nirjaras.
Yeah.
I'll
Online.
have a look.
Read that up. They're amazing. That's a gift. And all common sense.
Is it possible to share the slides that you showed, the earlier ones, especially with the data?
Only if you commit to meditation and fasting. I don't share anything else. That's the cost. No, I'm teasing. I'm really teasing. My charge is commitment to those two. Of course, I think I'll send it, yeah, please share it. So absolutely.
The first that you're showing, the university study, a lot of proteins increased, including choline. Did any of the other proteins that you saw increase on, did those have any specific effects of their own as well? Or was it
Yeah,
just
others increased. Their pathways go, I mean, it's intricate, the pure metabolism, other pathways that are important. Just because a pathway into positive, you sort of study the benefits, but they all have, they're connected. I can tell you from a GI or microbiome way why it would improve. Because the change we're seeing will also affect the microbiome, for example, or the gut. So all that studies we're kind of embarked on a mass scale, so we'll have data over time. But that's what you need to take up, right? You guys need to take this up because imagine this signal and building on this for the next hundreds of you could do this and get also the data would be amazing. Right? I just got into it. I didn't even know it existed. Right? Imagine I only did 2 steps of the questionnaire. Forget the other 6. Right? Imagine building those. Right? More cards, like imagine a part of that. I thought it was too difficult. So we didn't do that on purpose initially because you know Westerners and card sorry. Imagine doing that. So that our next study is card circuit. We're setting a study up in FI right now to look at card circuit. It's slightly better randomized control model, but similar. So we'll keep at it, but this is a good area to work on.
I think there are a lot of data available for American Heart Association.
Oh, yeah. The data is plenty to your question. There's lots of data on different benefits. I just presented our chain to step that up, but others have done, though some work they've not done. Something we've done here is very unique. You know, some of the stuff we do is because we're rich and affording now. You can imagine how much this costs. So yeah. It's a pretty profound work, which, you know, probably most of your houses would pay for it. This is how much this costs. But we have to do it, right? I happen to have a lab and I could sneak it and get it done. So we got it done. But it's not easy to do these things. But there'll be, once you get there, you'll get support. People will come through. This the whole thing about Maravana's missions. You go on a path, help just comes. I don't know where it comes from. So you just fiercely go for a task and help will come. I'm from with you with that. So be ambitious, go for it, and find answers. Profound answers, I think.
So do you think meditation helps you day-to-day family, what do you say, family, you know,
Dynamic.
literally-
Yeah, so when I lose my temper, now I can get back to normal quickly. Before it took me 3 days. Now, karma's gonna come. I'm not joking. Karma's gonna come. It's gonna happen. Some karma's gonna come. The question is how we handle it. I do think, first of all, being with somebody helps refocus. Second of all, the teach helps. That's why that helps. Even though I remember very little, but it seems to help. And then these techniques stay you more in tune. And after I said, hang on, that was karma playing a game. Silly karma, wasn't me. Or wasn't, let's say, the cross is the one who's going to provoke you the most, not because she's a problem, but just the person next to her the most provocative, right? When my karma comes, I'll blame that, or I blame this chair, because I'm sitting in the chair all the time. That chair's at fault. Not that chair, because it's too far. That's in nature, right? Because who was closest to you, you're going to blame the most. But it's not them. It's that same mischievous karma playing a game, and you then blame that chair, right? So it reminds you of that. And I look back, hang on. But hopefully they'll also learn from that, because their karma probably also arose, and I'll learn and we'll be better off. And then be back to square one. It helps, I think. This is my way of rationalizing, but it helps.
It gives you a little, you start by doing more meditation, it gives you that split second before you answer back in a reactor. And I have started noticing that, I mean, obviously still I'm not perfect, and then something might be that quick remark and then you regret it afterwards. But on the whole, you're thinking a little bit more before you respond. And much calmer. Yeah.
Okay, I think we should probably call it a day. Let somebody maybe
Yes.
finish off, and then and I'm happy and